Welcome to Foz do Iguaçu, Brazil. There is a shot of the breathtaking Iguaçu Falls, the second busiest tourist destination here in Brazil. And we are here for X Games Brazil. It's a party atmosphere here at the event side. There's a Brazilian rider, Diogo Canina, signing some autographs. The fans are obviously fired up. We've got some Ryan Nyquist fans in the house. We'll see him a little bit later on tonight in the BMX Dirt Final. And there's Kyle Baldock, one of our finalists here in the BMX Park Final. The fans are all fired up here in Brazil. And these are your 6 finalists set to do battle. Daniel Sandoval, Daniel Dares, Gary Young, Dennis Anderson, Pat Casey, and Kyle Baldock rounds out the top 6. Interesting to note here, the story, the gold medalist from last year in Los Angeles, Scotty Kramer, he is not in the top 6. And for more on that and what happened, let's check in right now with Jordan Whitley.
Well, Scotty, it didn't look like things were going your way out there. Why did you decide to pass on that last run?
Oh, to be honest with you, I'm really tired. I think it's the sun. In New Jersey, it hasn't been over 30 degrees in the last like 6 months, so I think it has something to do with it. I mean, I'm riding with my my bulky, safe helmet, doing these long runs. So, and the long runs have something to do with it because usually, I mean, I'm not saying this against the judges or anything, but in X Games, it seems like they want to see like full use of the course and the most tricks. And I tried to do that, but I think they wanted to see something different than what I planned the last 5 days here. And it's one of those courses where if you have your mind set on something, you can't just turn around and say, oh, here we go. It's not like driving on the highway when you got yellow lines guiding you. You actually you have to make it all up on your own.
Thank you. You told me earlier, it's really hard to second guess yourself and change it up out there, so I appreciate it, guys.
So tough break there for Scotty, but here we are underway in the final. A little bit of a change up now. It's an 18-minute jam session. We add 3 extra minutes to the clock. Riders are going to run in order as to how they qualified for the finals. The runs are 40 seconds in length. The best possible run score you can get is a 50. It's your 2 best runs totaled together that'll hopefully get you on the podium here in Foz do Iguaçu.
Daniel Sandoval, only 18 years of age, the hand plant there. Had a little rough spot at the start of this run, and it gets a little tricky. These guys are tired from riding earlier. They're going to be expending a lot of energy in this, so you almost wonder if you start a little sketchy if you're better off, passing on the rest of that run. But that said, you want to get a score somewhere in the middle in case it sticks.
Well, the heat is definitely a factor, as you heard Scotty talking about earlier, so fatigue definitely a factor in that as well. But this is Daniel Dares. He and Scotty have traded off gold medals the last 7 years in a row at this event. Scotty's out. Daniel's hungry for another gold.
And this run is linking it together right now. That's a big tuck no-hander out of the deep end of the pool. And Daniel's flowing. He's got the experience. He's got the gold medals. He knows what it takes.
Experience. That's the key right there. He's done this before, and like you said, he knows what it takes. However, remember, we talked about this earlier, broken left kneecap last summer, this event, and he's still not 100%.
We're never 100%, we being people that ride BMX bikes, but you do what you can under the circumstances, and he's making the most of his chance right now.
Flairs above there. Looked like he threw a bit of an invert into that as well. So
that's going to be solid.
Posts up a 28. We'll see what Daniel gets here for his first score. We bring up Gary Young.
You cannot really go with a favorite here. I'm going to go with the field over any one individual.
Did you see that transfer that Gary just did?
Gary is the master at high-speed lines, a master at unique transfers, and if he links it all together and stays on his bike, I mean, he's placed really well in this event many, many times.
Nice big floating 360 over what we call the volcano feature. Once again, look up the top right-hand corner of the screen.
There you go, unique line.
The clock in red, that is the run clock. It's a 40-second run clock. The clock to the left of that, that's how much time is left in the overall session.
Nice. Using the rail feature, you're not seeing much of that.
I was going to say, we didn't see a lot of that in either heats 1 or 2 to get to this final. So Daniel's got a 34, so that's a great first run score to start off with. Again, it's your best 2 scores total, the best possible run you can get, the best possible score, I should say.
He's right there with him with a 33.
Well, look out. On course right now, this is Dennis Anderson. He's got a couple of silver medals for you.
Good bar to tuck. Barspin to tuck no-hander, you call that. There's a lot to fit in, especially when you're dealing with an 11-foot deep bowl.
I think he kind of got a little lost there coming back over that volcano seemed to slow down the speed just a bit.
Well, he's such a natural rider. Loss for Dennis Anderson, you barely even see it because he's right back on his line instantly. Feeble to bar spin in. To me, those sort of tricks will be rewarded. It's throwing something tech and lip tricky into a run, and he hasn't slowed down. He's keeping the flow going. Bar to bar back. This run is awesome.
2 seconds, one, and
if he pulls this, it's a big if. Yes.
The foot jam nose pick coming in fakey basically means you're coming in backwards.
Check it out. Hopping up, feeble on that ledge, you know, that's, and then casually throwing a bar spin in, cement, you know, it's, and now, of course, Pat Casey just charging it. He did really well coming into this to get into the final heat. Doing a little berm there, like he's taking his old Coal Canyon BMX track that he grew up on. And a double whip, 270 over the hip.
Yeah, he's been on fire. He was the top guy coming out of heat number 2, and he's pretty much picking up where he left off there. Alley-oop with the flare again. Alley-oop, we talked about this earlier, drifting the opposite
And
direction.
throwing the bars in there, if I saw that right.
I didn't say. I think he threw the bars.
Too bad for, like, one little mess up like that at the end, you know, landing low, and that could be the difference in a point or 2 or 3 in your final score, because you got to figure individual judges might each deduct a point there, but that was a sick run.
Well, look how tightly everybody's grouped from Dares up to Anderson, a 34, a 33, a 35. Kyle Baldock on course right now. He was your top qualifier coming out of heat number 1.
Bar catch bar, and Kyle's obviously figured the lines out. I think that makes him the favorite. I mean, not against the entire field of 5, but if you had to pick one guy based on how he rode in the prelim, that this would be it. But you still got to make it happen when it counts, and he's doing that right now.
Got that corked out 7 over the volcano, and then that corked out 900 on a tight transition right there.
Well, Kyle's known for doing some of the hardest tricks in the business, like that tailwhip flare, making him look easy, but he does everything like a little bit higher, or sometimes a lot higher than everybody else, and that stands out.
The other thing to notice is he's got a really good pace going on right now. He's quickly at each feature on the course. Look at Dennis Anderson and Pat Casey both tied with a 35. We go back up to the top of the order, bring back in Daniel Sandoval as we await the first run score here for Kyle Baldock.
Kyle Baldock's going to be a dad in June, I believe. So
picking up where he left off in that first heat with a 38.
Did you see that bar to whip? Daniel Sandoval, just casual bar to whip, 11-foot deep, concrete bowl, and just making it look easy. It's not. I can assure you it's not.
We're almost 6 minutes into this final, and we have got a battle going on here between these 6 riders.
Oh my, look at Kyle's score at 38. And with Daniel falling on that, you know, he's still got more runs to go, but at this point, you can assume Kyle's probably going to beat Daniel. That's not his only concern.
So 28 to 26 there for Daniel Sandoval, which will bring up Daniel Dares. A solid first run score at that 34. Corks out that 720.
Nice techno header. He's keeping his flow coming back from that deep roll too. Lost his line a tiny bit, but it's hard to be too critical. But then again, when you're riding with the best riders in the world, you know, the tiny little things can be the difference.
Well, we mentioned that left kneecap from last summer, and he's still not 100%. We're getting word right now that he's also crashed in practice earlier today, and he's got an aggravated right hip that's been starting to act up a little bit, and now you see him go down there and hits that right hip, and definitely favoring that a little bit. You see him kind of limping out of the course there, kind of holding that hip as he gets up from that crash.
Well, we've got 3 more riders before we get to the current leader, but with Kyle sitting on 38, another run like that, and he'd be in pretty good position. Nice transfer. Gary Young never disappoints. Another guy that I'd call a rider's rider, just huge. Jimmy, that tailwhip, 270 over the hip, and then he gets his feet back on the pedals and throws a perfectly flat table, part of his Dirt Brothers background. They like those flat tabletops.
He's got a first run score of a 33, and again, look how tightly grouped everybody is. They're 34, 33, 35, 35, and then you've got Baldock at the top of the pack with a 38.
And Gary finding a way to throw in a couple lip tricks here and there. Lip tricks can be inconsistent at times, so you might dab here or there, and that's sort of the risk reward you get with throwing in something technical and different.
So we are in the middle of the BMX Park final. Jimmy Coleman here in the booth sitting alongside Dennis McCoy. We've got Dennis Anderson on course right now. Your top scorer right now, Kyle Baldock. However, he's not at the top of the leaderboard. Reason for that being it's your two best runs combined here. So we're in the middle of round 2, so you'll see these names jumping around quite a bit here. Dennis with a huge transfer.
Huge and fast and stylish. You combine all those elements and it's a treat to watch.
Just under 10 minutes left here in the jam session clock. Once again, the runs are 40 seconds in length. The best possible score you can get out here in the BMX Park final is a best possible single run score, I should say, is a 50. It's your two best scores total together. So your best total score you can get to 100.
Solid, solid run. And when you get 2 solid runs in, you're feeling pretty good about yourself.
Look at that. That's a good chunk of distance.
Not much to explain there other than go real fast, gap, and make it happen. Look at the size of that bar spin to tuck no-hander from Pat Casey. Double whip over the hip.
Dennis is
Canyon berm.
Extremely consistent right now. He's got 2 scores of 35, which gives him a 70 total. And look at Pat Casey just putting it all together once again.
Yes, he is. So Anderson with a 70.
That's got him on top of things as of right now, but keep in mind, this is the second round, so we don't have a second run score yet for Pat or for Kyle Baldock. Pat kind of looking a little lost here at the end of this one, just a little bit, not much.
Pocket, tail whip, air, off the extension. Something little like that that just looks like a way that you ended your run is actually something that's going to add to a score quite a bit.
And on course right now, your top guy in heat number 1, he's got the single highest run score of the final thus far. This is Kyle Baldock.
Tail whip to late bar spin, that is scary. 11-foot deep concrete bowl, and you got to find a line to get the speed to do that. And look at that. Corked out 7, I guess we'll call it 3 flip, a little less laid over flip style. I don't know. Again, there's a lot of hybrid tricks out there, but Kyle's on fire.
Flair, tail whip. And again, I mentioned this in his last run. Look at the pace. Look at how fast he's flowing through the course.
He's on it. Little slip up, but I think
little foot down. It'll be a lower score than the first run, I think, but it's going to be high.
It's going to be a huge score, and it's going to put him firmly in the lead.
So Pat Casey with a total of 68. He's got a 35 and a 33, so his first run score was the better one. So we go back up to the top of the order with Daniel Sandoval.
Nice double whip over the volcano, landing it clean, which gives you the speed to do a massive bar to whip. I'm curious to see Kyle's score. 36, there you go.
So
he's the 2 highest scores.
Those are the 2 highest scores.
Oh, Daniel, so that makes 3 runs where Daniel's falling off. It's not going maybe the way he's planned, but hey, to get in a final at the age of 18, that in itself is enough to be excited about.
There's still time, and as we come up on the 7-minute mark, your top 3 right now, it's Kyle Baldock, Dennis Anderson, and Pat Casey. And on course right now, but there's the pass.
Oh, and that's,
so we go to Gary Young.
That's a strategy that worked for him in the past, but it can throw off the rest of the guys. I mean, when you're asked to drop in before you thought you were going to, it can be tricky. Not just from a how winded you are standpoint, but from a mental standpoint. I'm still figuring out what trick I want to do next or last in my run, and they're telling me to drop in. Oh, unfortunate.
Gary gets hung up there.
Going for a pocket air onto that extension, hop back wheeling. Now imagine now you're getting up, you're winded, there might be something wrong with your bike, and you're about to go through the order again and try to figure out. This is the X Games Park events, all of the X Games events for that matter, but in particular Park at this pace with 40-second runs, out in the heat, this is really, really a test.
Yeah, the heat is definitely a factor. We heard that from Scotty Kramer when he was being interviewed by Jordan Whitley. He said, you know, it's the heat. It hasn't been that warm back home. I mean, Upper East Coast still pretty much in the middle of winter, so
and this
heat definitely a factor down here.
Unless you're Dennis Anderson, seems like the exception to the rule. You know, I mentioned this in Houston right now. I mentioned this in the first round. Goodness. Good to see him.
Puts the hands up, says, hey, I'm okay, but that was downright scary. And he looks like he got a little scraped up there on the elbow.
Something appears to be dripping some blood.
Well, he's up and walking away from this. That's a good sign. I mean, that could have been ugly.
Oh, he's holding his wrist, and he's competing in dirt later tonight as well. So,
well, with the injury,
it's a good thing to see.
The overall jam session clock will stop until they get the course cleared. Well, yeah, you mentioned he's riding in dirt later on tonight, so this could be a factor.
Well, I'm relieved to see he doesn't have anything going on with his face that we can tell. Big bar spins and he was way out over the coping. He just got boned up funny and
Oh.
Yeah, he tagged pretty bad. It's called hanging up when you land your back wheel on the coping. It sends you straight to flat.
At real-time speed, it looked like he didn't have his hands back on the bars when the back tire hung up, but he did have the hands back on the bars. You can see him down there in athlete staging. Got a little ding on the chin as well.
That's where the blood we saw dripping, but it's his wrist he seems to be concerned about, and he doesn't look happy. I've been there with the wrist injuries. I've torn both scaphoid lunate ligaments in my wrists, and it's not fun.
You know, it's got to be disappointing for him too, with still 6 minutes to go here in the final jam clock, and as we mentioned before, with dirt still to come later on tonight. Once we get the course clear, we're back underway. So Pat Casey on course right now. So at this point, we've seen Darius have a pass, and now with Dennis out, I mean, we'll see what happens here as we get into the next round, but we could essentially be down to 4 riders here with just under 6 minutes to go. So your top 3 still right now: Kyle Baldock, Dennis Anderson sitting in 2nd, and Pat Casey sitting in the 3rd place position.
Pat started out with perfection over the volcano, and it looked like he missed what he was trying to do in the deep end of the bowl, but he's making up for it here. Alley-oop bar flare. Yes. Downside 3-whip, kind of a decade. You guys can debate it all you want, but it was rad.
He's riding really smooth. I mean, he was great in his heat. He was the top guy coming out of heat number 2. He's got a 35 and a 33. He got a bronze medal last summer at X Games LA and Park. He's sitting in a bronze medal position right now. And we have another pass. Kyle Baldock, we're getting word he's going to take a breather from the heat, so he's going to pass. So now we go back up to the top once again with Daniel Sandoval.
And a big truck driver to downside whip, and he's charging. I mean, this is interesting.
Well,
just
he needs
comes
to.
down to how many runs he can get. If this is his last run, it's not going to bump him into.
He's got a 28 to 26 he's got to get rid of. He's got to get up into the 30s, and he's got to do it on this run if he can get one more after this, if he get through the rotation.
There's 4:40 left on the clock, and if everybody keeps passing, it could be Daniel Sandoval doing 20 runs until the end.
And
20, but you get my point.
Yeah, that was a great run for Daniel. This is key here because he's gonna jump up into the 30s with this. But again, if we can get through the run order one more time around, you get a 2nd run. I mean, this is huge for Daniel.
There goes Darius. I had fun watching this because Darius trying to play the wily veteran approach, skip a run, come back in. Daniel Sandoval's got the youthful enthusiasm. He's just going to go out there and ride until they tell him he can't.
I said he needed to get into the 30s. He's done that. He's dropped that 26, so he's got a 28 to 32. It's going to leave him down at 6, but again, if he can get another run, that could be big for
Sandoval. When you look at Daniel, 34 and a 29, anytime your 2nd highest score is 5 points lower than your other one, you know, duplicate that other run, throw in a couple of things extra, and your score is going to jump a lot.
Dares is calling it right there, and I mean, you could see the way he's limping there.
Well, we've got Gary Young on course here now. So that transfer him and Dennis are doing. Something about guys from San Diego. They like to pedal. They love to do unique lines. And they're always a treat to watch. And Gary's sitting with a 29. He drops that, and things change quickly here at X Games.
Gary sitting down at 5th right now with a 33 and a 29. He'd like to get rid of that 20. Big transfer there for Gary.
And using the rail there. That's so good to see.
Yeah, we haven't seen a lot of that either with 2 qualifying heats.
That's a solid run by Gary.
So Dennis Anderson up next in the lineup. The question is, will he take his next round? And obviously not. You see him there being checked out by X Games Medical. And they're applying ice there to that left wrist. And so he's got a little bit of a scratch on the chin there as well.
Yes,
so we keep moving along with Pat Casey now. Dennis still sitting in a medal position right now, though. He's in a silver medal position at this point in time.
And Gary Young bettered his score by a fair amount. Pops him for the dares.
The top 3 still, though: Kyle Baldock, Dennis Anderson, and Pat Casey. Remember, Kyle Baldock didn't go in the last round. He passed as well, said he needed to take a break from the heat.
Pat is doing that alley-oop barspin flare like he's just got it wired. So I guess he does have it wired. It's perfect
every time. So there's the run clock for Pat Casey. Will Baldock take this next run? We're on the 2-minute mark, so this looks like, barring any more passing, this will take us through. This will be the last round.
Kyle having 2 more runs then if he takes this run. Kyle, the last rider to go here, so there will be another round after this one. I don't know what you do if you're Kyle Baldock right now. Depends a lot on how much energy you have and how much more you have to offer on this, because you've got 2 amazing scores. I suppose 238 would make you feel a little bit better.
Well, he's got a 4-point up, but Pat Casey overtook Dennis Anderson. He's up in second right now, so he bumped Anderson down to the bronze position right now, and Kyle's calling that one. So here we go with 120 left to go and counting down.
And you could come down to, you know, the first tiebreaker is the highest single score. They both have 35 and 35. Second tiebreaker, third highest score. And with Anderson missing a run, you're going to favor Pat Casey in that instance.
And that's a tough break right there for Daniel Sandoval, because he got rid of that 26. He got up into the 30s with a 32, and he needed a big score right there.
And Daniel is going for it.
Well, he has to.
See if he's got gas left in the tank here. Big 7.
He's got a 34. He needs to get rid of that 29 to try to contend for gold here.
Alley-oop double tail with 3. He's putting it together. Clean bar spin. No-handed flare. Energy definitely becomes a factor this late in the contest. But, oh, Daniel
washes out, and that'll throw him.
He was putting it together in that run.
Well, we know we're going to have a new gold medal. Yeah, we don't know who's taking the gold, but one thing we do know for certain now is that there's going to be a new name to add to the very short list of riders that have taken gold at BMX Park over the 17-year history of this event.
And in all likelihood, it's coming down to Kyle Baldock and Pat Casey. Baldock has the heavy edge there. Pat would have to score.
He's got a 4-point lead right now over Pat.
If Pat scores a 39, that would give him a tiebreaker edge. Under the assumption that Dennis Anderson may not be returning, Gary Young's got too much ground to make up, holding on to the 33 and the 32.
Well, we talked about how the last 7 years it's been the battle between Daniel and Scotty. We said there's 5 guys that have ever taken gold in this event. The other 3, of course, Ryan Nyquist, he's got 2. Dave Mira's got 7, and Bruce Chrisman has 1 gold medal in this event.
Yeah, I felt coming into this Kyle Baldock would be a very strong competitor, but you just don't know how he did that for the course.
Well, taking a look here over the last 7 years, we said it's 2 guys, Scotty Kramer and Daniel Dares. And interesting to note, Scotty's never taken one back-to-back.
Right.
It's always been Scotty, then Daniel for 2 years. Scotty will get another one, then Daniel for 2 years, and then Scotty won last year in Los Angeles.
He likes to play spoiler.
Yeah. Well, he'd like to win a couple back-to-back.
Yeah, he's playing spoiler, and then Daniel's keeping him from putting a streak together. But this year, it looks like Kyle Baldock's the favorite to win this thing, but it is not over yet.
Well, here's another interesting little nugget is of our 5 previous gold medalists, only Scotty and Bruce Chrisman are the only ones to not win back-to-back, because Ryan got 2 years in a row, Mira had the first 5 years in a row, then he got 2 more up together, and Daniel's got 2 back-to-back runs of gold medals.
Mira put on streaks that you're just not supposed to put on, especially in an event like Park that is as competitive as it is. They're all competitive events, but in Park you see so many new riders, so many new faces. So for Mira to put together a streak of 5 years, I mean, to me, that's in BMX like the streak that.
All right, so we're back into comp here. Here we go. Gary Young on course right now. Gary's 1 spot out of a medal here. He's sitting in the 4th place position. Oh, gets hung up on that transfer. He tried it at the end of his heat. Had to ditch the bike. This time around, almost makes it, but just gets hung up on the back tire.
And you know that little break there probably helped Gary. That was the line that took so much speed.
Well, the question now becomes, is Dennis still back there with the medical staff, or is he going to come out?
Gary wants this again. He knows it's not going to change his ultimate position. He's already fallen in this round.
This is after time. It's not going to count. This one's just for the fans.
I'm a fan of Gary Young.
You know, I'll jump on that bandwagon with you as well.
X Games, XG fan, I believe.
Are you going to hashtag that at your new Twitter handle, BMX DMC? You joined the Twitter world?
Yeah, I'm at BMX DMC, and I've been loving Instagram. It's for both Instagram and Twitter, but wow, what a contest. And you know, this is what it comes down to. Pat Casey gets a 39, it puts pressure on Kyle Baldock. Anything less than a 39, and Kyle Baldock is the champion.
It now comes down to this with Casey and Baldock. The last two guys are right. Our medal board has been determined as far as the 3 guys are going to be in it. Dennis is going to walk away with a bronze. The question is, will Pat contend for gold? And with that slip up, it's not going to happen.
He contended by getting the silver, but no, this is Kyle Baldock's day, and 4-point margin, that's incredible. And we're assuming that the tiebreaker is confirmed there as official, that Pat Casey with 35 and 35 and Anderson's 35 and 35, that Casey has the tiebreaker.
Well, the tiebreaker process, it's the highest score, it's the highest single run score, then it goes to the 3rd highest run score, and the comparison continues on down to the scores. And if you get down to the bottom of that, you still haven't got it, well, then the head judge breaks the tie.
Listen to the crowd. You gotta love the crowd in Brazil, and you gotta love the size of that invert. Kyle, you know, he's not gonna come out and try the craziest things in the world. I mean, this is a glorious, it's a victory lap, and just to see him do a high, stylish invert that he maybe can't afford to put in a round because it's not technically difficult, but it's beautiful, and it's BMX, and today's all about Kyle Baldock.
Why not? Who cares? You just won your first Park gold medal. Get out there and celebrate. The fans definitely appreciative.
I'm very stoked for him because a lot of people coming into this felt like this isn't his style, of course, and I just felt like give him some time, let him find some lines, throw his huge tricks into his, like, boost everything to the moon style of riding, and he's going to be tough to beat.
Well, let's send it down to Jordan Whitley right now, who's with our gold medalist.
All right, Kyle, well, nothing about this win was easy, from the course itself to the heat to that last-minute battle with Pat. How were you able to pull it all together when it counted?
I actually can't tell you how I pulled it together. Like, practice was pretty hard for me because I don't kind of ride this kind of course, but then seeing everyone put it down, you have to be like, come, let's see if we can do it. And then it pulled off, and I was blessed that I actually made it to here right now in the finals, and then to come away with a win against Pat. I have no words.
And this is your very first X Games gold medal. What does it mean to you?
Right now, I'm going to go home the happiest Aussie ever, to leave Australia and come back. It's like that feeling that it'll hit me later tonight, and I'll just have to call everyone from home and stuff, and like just talk to my family, you know?
That's a feeling you'll never forget. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So there you go, when it's all said and done here from Foz de Iguaçu in BMX Park final. Dennis Anderson, we missed him last year due to injury, but he comes back and claims the bronze, adding another medal to his trophy case. Pat Casey, last year's bronze medalist, trades up for silver, and Kyle Baldock walks away with his first ever X Games medal. We've got more from Foz de Iguaçu coming up, and that wraps it up for us here at the BMX Park final.